Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Lee. You're watching Dark Roots Creations, and this is going to be my personal curriculum, results for winter, and plans for spring. So let's start off with a few things. One, you might hear my dryer going. Sorry about that. Two, I am going to be stopping to drink an iced coffee. And three, my face is a mess. I've been trying to clear up some stress, acne, a cut I got, some other nonsense, but it's not going away and we're not going to wait on that anymore. So we're just going to roll with it and move on and let's get into it. So first up, let's see how I did over the winter personal curriculum, the Forge, as I like to call it. In the Forge, we have a bunch of different houses. The first one we have is the Artisan House. And for the winter, my plan was to do the glass craft project, which was going to be to make a Turkish lamp. I went and I did this with one of my friends. This was a lot of fun. It was at a place that did mosaic lamps. They did water marbling. They did ceramic painting. They also taught you how to make Turkish coffee, like in the sand. So we did this one. It was just us. There were other people there while we were there doing the water marbling. We had a lot of fun. It was just a great night out. Also, while it was freezing cold, I definitely remember that. But we did this one, kind of pick your pattern, just go from there. They give you all this stuff to make the hardware to make the lamp, and you grout it yourself when you get home. So did that, absolutely was thrilled that we did this. We definitely talked about going back again and like redoing the globe, because there's a lot of seasonal ones, like or holiday ones. People had done ones like made it like look like a jack-o'-lantern for Halloween, or just did like a red and green white theme for Christmas. So we might actually go back and do more. And they give you like one of those little punch cards, so if you go back and do more things, you can get discounts and free stuff. So while we were there, they gave you like little Turkish delights and some Turkish coffee and tea. It was a good time. We enjoyed ourselves. So for the glass craft project, I will give myself an A. Next up was the library. And for the library, I wanted to do a Jennifer Hillier read through. For this, I wanted to read all the Jennifer Hillier books to zero, which also means just reading all of her books. I had 4 books I had to read by her. I had Creep, Freak, which is part 2, The Butcher, and Wonderland. So the first one is Creep. This is about a woman who's a professor at a college. She is a sex addict. She's in a relationship with a man, like her age, a little bit older, and she's in a relationship with one of her graduate students who's also a student teacher. He's very hard to resist, very charming, very all the things that she's into. She decides that she does not want to continue to have this like back and forth life. He also, I believe his name's Ethan, he also has a girlfriend. So she's just like, I need to get my life straight. I can't be doing this stuff anymore. And she breaks it off with him. And he does not take it well. There's blackmail involved. There's a lot of other things. You start to find out that Ethan isn't the nice, charming guy that he seems to be. And he has a lot of issues. And it turns out that at the same time all this is going on, there's a missing girl on the college campus. And it turns out that Ethan used to date her. So that becomes a big part of this book. Since it's a thriller, I'm going to leave it there, but I really enjoyed this one. Yeah, so this was part 1 of the stories, and then we're going to go into book 2, Freak. So this is book 2. This picks up directly after Creep. In this one, we're following, or the main character is Abby, who is Ethan's girlfriend. She is in jail serving 25 years for events that happened in the first book, in which she slit the throat of a police officer, defending herself, as she says. She has a ton of fans while she's in jail. and it's still like directly we're dealing with some of the same characters from the first book, including this police officer, Sheila, who was the professor in the first one, and the aftermath of the things that happened in the first story. So this one picks up a lot more on a serial killer website, copycat crimes, and just like the underground obsession with serial killers and like the what's the word I'm thinking of? Like fetish of that whole scene. I don't know. Um Also this one was really good. I like that we picked up right where we left off and that it gave us a different point of view for this one. Okay. Then we go into this book, The Butcher. It's not related to, but there are mentions of certain things in the past in these other two books. For example, the serial killer website and a lot of the fan stuff that goes along with this one. This is because there's a girl named Sam and she's writing a book about a particular serial killer. This is the Beacon Hill murderer. Was that his name? The Beacon Hill Butcher. Sorry, Butcher. The Beacon Hill Butcher. And she has a very inside point of view because her boyfriend's grandfather was the police officer that was like involved in a lot of these investigations and actually was the one who killed the Beacon Hill Butcher. So she has a lot of insight into that. Sorry, I just had to remember what the grandson's name was. His name is Matt. He's a chef. And when we're coming into this book, the grandfather is moving into a retirement home and Matt is going to move into his house. And it's like this gorgeous mansion. And he's very stressed with his job, which is fine because Sam and the grandfather can have their own conversations. She's just doing a lot of research into what's going on. And while that's going on, Matt is setting up the house for himself, figuring out what's going on with that. But the big twist of this is that Sam believes that her mother was killed by the Beacon Hill Butcher, which is why she has such a passion for this story. And she's trying to do some investigation into this. So there are some files that are found at the chief's house. That's everybody calls him the chief, at the chief's house, that she starts to get some more information. And somebody comes out of the past to give her some information about her mom. I'm going to leave it at that one. But you do get, like I said, the serial killer website. There is mention of Ethan. There's mention of Abby. There's mention of some others, like the website and some of the other people, like previous people mentioned in this other book, as well as some of the law enforcement. Okay, then we get into this book, and I'm going to hold it carefully because this one is kind of like destroyed. Not because of me, just these were all books that were given to me, so it's kind of just like really like banged up in here. There's like pages that are ripped out. But anyway, this one is Wonderland. Again, there's just slight mention of the website and previous issues with other people, like previous murders, and like again a little bit of that serial killer obsession with some of the characters in this one. So Wonderland is a place where it's an amusement park. You could start working here when you're 14. A lot of kids, this is like the main thing in the town that like keeps the town running. So they can get away with special considerations because this is like the moneymaker for the town. So this starts with a kid climbing, like, I don't want to say he's a parkour, but like he does like a lot of like he takes pictures, like he'll climb something and take pictures. So there's the Wonder Wheel and he climbs that, takes a picture of himself, and then the Wonder Wheel starts up and he falls. At the same time, there's a body found, and there's a biker guy who's been looking for his son who's been missing for multiple years. There's a new, I want to say detective, chief of police. What's her name? Vanessa Cashos. It's her first day as the deputy police chief of Seattle, Washington. Had been, I think she was even employed at Wonderland as a kid when it was called something else. You get the point of views of people that have worked there, some of the police officers, former employees. this was owned by a man, and then his niece comes on and she takes over and she's like Miss Strict about things. But again, nothing is as it seems on the surface. There's a lot that they can get away with. And Vanessa is not going to be doing that. Vanessa has 2 kids. Her husband recently died. She moved back here to start a new life. She's not going to do it. One of her old mentors is one of the police officers from the first book that we've heard about throughout the whole time. So that's like the connection there. Again, thriller, not going to say much more about that. Not going to give away a lot of the things that happen in this one. But that was the 4th book. That's what I needed to read. I do believe she has another one coming out, but this was what I needed to finish for the project. So I'm giving myself an A because I got through all of these. I really like Jennifer Hillier because she does a little bit more of a dark thriller. I wish that in the beginning of the books, she didn't have to give, what is that called? Trigger warnings. It's like, you're reading a thriller. If you are so offended by every little thing, then maybe thrillers aren't for you. So that's all I just want to say on that. Like, I don't feel like that she shouldn't have to give these triggers, because the thing I feel like, especially when you're doing a thriller, is you don't want the triggers because the triggers are the things that are going to happen in the book. So you don't want to be spoiled and given away for those type of things. Also, that she shouldn't have to say she doesn't condone what these people did. Like, I just think that's silly, but that's the world we live in. But whatever, I'm not going to jump on a soapbox about that. Anyway, completed those, giving myself an A for the library and the Jennifer Hillier read through. Next is The Vault. And in The Vault, we study everything to do with finances. This semester, we were working on The Ledger, which is trying to get ourselves out of credit card debt and back into positive numbers. So this was a roller coaster, I'm going to say. So I did immediately pay off a credit card and then immediately ran it right back up. Part of this was due to doing physical therapy. I have a very high out-of-pocket cost, and I ran through that pretty quickly. So that's not the only thing that I did, but that was a large amount of money. But I did wind up paying that off again. So maxed it out and then paid it off again, as well as another small bill that I had left to pay. It was like one of those like Affirm payment plans over a year. I did wind up paying that off as well. So I got one credit card and Affirm paid off, which I'm very happy about. In the meanwhile, I was also doing some savings challenges. So I'm working on this 52-week challenge where I put a certain amount of money away every week toward that. In February, one of the challenges, so I didn't work on any extra challenges in January, mainly because I hadn't thought of it yet. But in February, I worked on a challenge where I already threw away my grocery receipt for this week. But at the end of your grocery receipt, they usually have like what you saved in store coupons, what you saved in sales, and then like a total you saved off of the receipt. Whatever that dollar amount was, I saved that aside in an account. So for February, I saved $115.61. Then for March, I decided to play a flip the coin game. So I get paid on Wednesdays. So that was like the 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th. So I flipped a coin. If it came up heads, I added a 0 to that amount. So if it was the 4th and it was heads, I got an extra 0, which means I had to put $40 away. If it was tails, I put $4 away. Then on the 11th, the 18th, the 25th. So I think only on the 4th it was tails, the rest were heads. So I wound up putting away $544 in the month of March. I'm really enjoying gamifying and doing these little savings challenges. So I'm going to continue them going into the next month. So I'll keep you updated for next season, what happens with that. So at first my grade was going to be an A because I paid off the card. Then when I racked it back up, I was going to give myself a C because I attempted, but then I ran it back up. But then I paid it off and paid off that other one. So I'm going to give myself an A for The Vault and The Ledger. Now we wind up in The Hearth. The Hearth is the home where I'm learning all sorts of home economic skills and just everything in that type of realm. And for the winter, we were doing The Rising Room, where I wanted to learn to make bread from scratch. I had 2 breads I wanted to make. One was just this easy, no knead bread recipe that I found. And the other was an Irish soda bread that we wanted to have for St. Patrick's Day. So, first one was this very easy to do bread. I think the first time I messed up by not cooking it long enough. I felt it was just like a little bit not as cooked as I would have liked on the inside. I didn't give up. I tried a second time and it came out really good. I enjoyed it. Marcus enjoyed it. My sister came over. She liked it. She even said, she's like, this would be great with like the olive oil spice dip, like when like we have like people over for like the weekend or whatever. We do host wrestling pay-per-views, so that's what she meant by that. And then I did the Irish soda bread one. Came out delicious. We actually said if we had added like the garlic and cheese to it, this would have been like a loaf of like the biscuits from Red Lobster. So I was actually thinking I might try to do it that way another time too. But I thought these both came out really good. They were both super easy. I feel very confident in this going forward. Probably only, we don't even eat bread that much, so this would probably be something I would do as a treat in like the winter and the fall. But still glad that I tried it and that it worked out. And even when it didn't work out the first time, I didn't give up. I tried again. So very happy about that. I give myself an A for this project as well. So next we have the arena. This is all things athletic, movement, exercise, that type of thing. For the winter, we were doing the rink. And this was going to be my return to ice skating, which was a childhood activity that I absolutely loved and was very good at and worked at. It has been a long time. I, however, gave myself a medical withdrawal because of my shoulder. I just didn't want to be doing, like, I could at the time, I couldn't even like move my arm like that. That was too much for me. So I didn't want to risk hurting myself, maybe making a jerking motion, which, I mean, if I even rolled over onto this side, I mean, even to touch right here right now is sensitive. To even roll over in bed, I would be like in screaming pain. So that's what I was doing the physical therapy for. So I decided just to put this one on hold. I gave myself like a medical withdrawal from the class. I will definitely come back to this probably in the fall or winter next year. I just want to make sure I get my arm better moving forward because I don't want to do something to hinder it and then I'm really out of commission with things. I have been doing the PT. I have not been doing the PT at home. That is just a regular goal that I plan on getting to. I do have some like anti-inflammatory that, but the PT, heat, and ice, I really just need to get back on it because I do feel, like I said, I feel like a little sensitive right here. So I know that's what's happening again and I need to get on it. But I'm taking a medical withdrawal for this class for this semester. And last was the Ember Lounge. And this was just a way to watch TV without feeling guilty that I wasn't doing anything else. And for this one, I wound up watching The Tulsa King on Paramount Plus. This stars Sylvester Stallone as a mafia capo who did 25 years in jail. He came out and basically his crew's like, we're new blood now. We don't need you. We're sending you to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Start something up there for us. And it's the story of him going out there to a place he's never been before, totally out of his culture, the way he, not only out of his culture as far as he's from New York and like that lifestyle, but also just having spent 25 years in jail. His daughter's not talking to him. He has to start over. His family, you know, his mafia family's basically like kicked him to the curb and he has to start over. And it's the story of him going out there and just how he starts out making things happen, the crew that he puts together, and the life that he starts living out there. I'm gonna leave it at that. If you like mafia type of things, any of the things that I just talked about, you might enjoy this. I really enjoy this. I think this is like the perfect roles for Stallone. I liked a lot of the side characters in this story. It was really good. 3 seasons. Season 1 has 9 episodes. Seasons 2 and 3 have 10 episodes each. So really enjoyed this. And I give myself an A because I finished it, but also because I absolutely loved it and I cannot wait for season 4 to come out. Okay, so that was my winter at the Forge, my personal curriculum. Being a nerd, I had to give myself a GPA, which is a 4.0. And this was a lot of fun. I got to watch some TV I wanted to watch. I got to read some books I wanted to watch. I got to learn some new activities. It was just a lot of fun overall. And I'm definitely looking forward to what we're going to do in the spring. So stay tuned, and I'm going to let you know the plans that I have for April, May, and June. Okay, so briefly, I also want to point out that I made like a little spring break for myself too. This was from March 23rd, which was my birthday, so, and it was also a Monday, so it just worked out perfectly, till the 31st. I just wanted to give myself like that little bit of time to rest, definitely finalize my plans for spring, just give myself a break of not having to worry about working on something. Ironically, on the 23rd, I did take off from work, and it was probably one of my most productive days in quite a while. So there was that, but it was nice to just have the break. And I think I did actually just tweak a few things between then and now. So now we'll go into what I have planned for the spring. Spring at the Forge is a season of renewal, confidence building, and intentional forward motion. It's about embracing a new season as the earth blooms again and being part of it as I return to outdoor activities, exploring creative outlets, enjoying solo adventures, and new experiences. So we are going to return to the Artisan House for spring. I just really love being creative and having an outlet for that. I also had a lot of fun naming my courses for this season. And this one is going to be Foundations in Watercolor, a Starting Place. And this is basically going to be a very beginner-friendly, relaxed watercolor season. I follow two people on YouTube. One is Rebel Unicorn Crafts, and the other is Andrea Nelson Art. Both of them do very relaxed, calming, not too serious watercolor practices, and that's how I want to start. I did buy one of Andrea's sets, like with the paints and brushes and marker brushes, some sketch pads, some practice pads. So I'm going to use that as a starting place. Both of them just do a lot of like relaxing, non-stressful, go with the flow, playful, don't take it too serious starts. And that's a lot of what I want to just start out at first. I used to paint back in high school, a little bit after, never in watercolor. So this will be a start for me. So I'm looking forward to just indulging in like creative, artistic watercolor play. Next, we are going to be going back to the library again. And for this one, I've named it Revenge and Rebellion, a Chosen Classic. I am not a fan of classics. I think part of it is I'm used to reading thrillers, and thrillers are more fast-paced. They get you there. I don't know. That's my thought process in it. I'm also never like savoring or slowly reading something. I'm usually like in it to get in, enjoy the story, and get out. But I've decided I'm going to take on a classic for the spring semester. And this is going to be The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. I know some people would be thinking, why don't you pick something shorter? Well, I've heard this is the ultimate revenge story, and the petty side of me is all about this, so I'm going to give it a try. I have 3 months to get it done. Now, I did find something on Course Hero that basically breaks it down, like does some explanations chapter by chapter. I also found a subreddit where people were reading this over a year. Now this is already passed, but I like the idea that I could kind of go back in and like read their comments and their thoughts, and I'm sure I could find other things more current along the way. I also decided to break it down into a 13-week plan with a certain amount of chapters, and I think that will just help me get through it at more manageable pace. So I also plan on getting both the book and the audio to help me get along, because I'm sure there's going to be rough points through this that I need help getting through. So that is what I plan for the library. It's going to be a tough one. Okay, for the spring, we're actually going to the workshop. And for this one, we're going to be doing manual driving basics, confidence in the clutch. And this is basically learning to drive a manual or stick shift. Now, I know how to drive it, but I don't have the confidence because I've only had to do it a few times. Like, I know how to do it. I know the technical part, but I am not comfortable doing it. I always say, if it's your car and you're drunk and I need to drive home, like need to drive us home, we're good. I can make it happen. But I'm just not comfortable on like the day-to-day with it. I have a very good friend who has a manual. It's actually a Camaro convertible, so even better, that he is willing to teach me, but also let me practice on throughout the season, which I feel will make me a lot more comfortable. Also, where I live now is not as city, urban, close together, lots of traffic. There's a lot more open roads, more slower roads, and more open, like not as busy roads. So I would feel a lot more comfortable in that type of situation. So I'm planning to go to the workshop, and I am planning to learn to get comfortable driving a manual car. Next, we are going to go back to the hearth, which is in our home. And for this, we're going to do the closet reset, what actually fits. So over the course of a couple of years, I've lost roughly 90 pounds. I've put back on 20 since, but in that time, I still have a lot of bigger clothes that don't fit me, or just styles I wouldn't necessarily be comfortable in. And that is to say, I have zero style anyway. Jeans and a t-shirt is me all the time. But even in that, like I wear these like short sleeve V-neck shirts to work all the time. A lot of them I have, I'm looking over here because here's my closet. A lot of them are very dingy and worn out. And I don't know. I like gray. Fun fact, at work on Mondays we wear gray. But I probably have about 14 gray shirts in there. Stuff that doesn't fit, stuff that I would be uncomfortable wearing. Like maybe I picked something out really quick and like I don't like the cut or the fit of it. I also have a bunch of sweatpants and old crap that has stains, that are dirty, that I wouldn't even wear around the house. So it's time to do a closet spring cleaning, get rid of things that don't fit, I'm uncomfortable in, they're stained up or dirty, and just time to get rid of them. Then in addition, I would like to add in some comfortable basics that fit a practical basic style that is me. So I feel I'm a little bit more of like a classic, never goes out of style, not to quote anything Taylor Swift, but that type of just, you know, like jeans, t-shirts, but I would also be comfortable with some basic different type of tops, like not necessarily like a short sleeve t-shirt, but like, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. I did just buy a skirt the other day that I really like. Fits well. I'm very comfortable in. Actually, I think it makes me look very slim, so I'm happy about that. But just really go through and then like kind of in the beginning, just do a purge. And then as time goes on, like pick the pieces that I think I'll be happy with. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, next we are stepping back into the arena, which is any sort of workout or athleticism on my part. For this one, we are going to do the Triple Crown the easy way. The Triple Crown is it's 3 hikes across the United States. You have the Appalachian Trail on the East Coast, the Continental Divide in the center of the country, and you have the Pacific Crest Trail on the West Coast. All of these are thousands and thousands of miles. I think it's like 1,800 miles altogether. But I'm going to do it the easy way. There's the app, the Conqueror Challenge. There's a link always in my description box if you want to join, get a medal. I've talked about this many times before, especially on lives, where you can, it's an app you download, you can pick your medal, and there's plenty of different ones. There's Paris, there's London, there's Star Trek, there's Harry Potter. They just recently put out the Avengers, there's Scooby-Doo. And then throughout the year, they have special ones like Mother's Day, or It was another one, like the movie It came out. You can pick a medal. There's a certain amount of mileage that goes with each one. You track it however you want to track it. You can manually put it in. You could track it like on an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, or I forget what the other one is, but a lot of things like that. Even on your phone, you can put in the mileage and that counts. You're building up miles on that. There's a map so you can see where you're at along the way, wherever you go. Like, for example, if you were doing New York, it would take you to the Statue of Liberty. It would take you to Central Park. It would take you to Staten Island. It would take you to like wherever it would take you along the way. And like occasionally you get little postcards that tells you fun facts about where you're at. And then at the end, when you complete it, you get a medal. I've done this for many of them, but I'm going to do them for the Triple Crown. So I'm doing the Appalachian Trail, which will be 88 miles, the Continental Divide, which will be 92.95 miles, and the Pacific Crest Trail, which will be 100 miles. This is coming for a total of 280.95 miles, so 281 miles. It'll be a stretch, but I can get it done. I'm going to include walking and biking in this and giving myself 3 months to get it done. While I would love to do the Appalachian Trail in real life, I don't like bugs. I don't like bugs and snakes. Other than that, I'd be cool with it. I've gone camping. I don't mind the walking. I think it'd be fun. I feel like the Appalachian Trail is the more popular of the three of them. So like there'd be a lot of people around, but it's the bugs and the snakes for me that are like, no. But anyway, although I will say there is a part of the trail that's in Jersey, and I'm thinking for doing the Appalachian Trail, I will walk on that part in Jersey. So we'll see how that goes. And last, we're going to another subject, something new, and this is going to be the conservatory, and this is going to be the tea house and intentional afternoon. I love tea, especially over coffee. I drink tea every day. I've always wanted to go to like a tea house and have the tea with like the 3 tiers of like, you know, the little tea sandwiches, the scones, and then the little desserts. I found a place about a half hour away from me that looks really good. So I think I'm gonna just get dressed up a little bit, go and have a tea. I've already romanticized this, that I'll be bringing a book with me because I'm just gonna do this solo. Bring a book with me and just sit there and enjoy my tea and read the book. It's in a Victorian mansion, so this will just be like on like a perfect little shady tree-lined street. So this is just gonna be like perfect for that type of romanticized in my head. As the coworker who sits next to me says, main character energy. So I'm gonna do that. And I do have some days off in April, like during the week from work. So I'll probably do it then because it won't be as busy, and I feel like with the spring, a lot of people might want to do this, and that'll just mean it's like less busy and I can like enjoy it the way that I want. So hopefully that will be happening in April and be one of the things I do earlier than later. So that's it. 6 subjects, 3 months to get them done. I've got a little bit of artistic, a little bit of book challenge, a little bit of practical learning, a little bit of spring cleaning, a little bit more activity and walking. And the reason, I should have mentioned this before, the reason that I chose the walking, I was actually going to do some other activities, but because my shoulder's still not 100% or acting up, I'm told it's frozen shoulder. I figured I would just do the walking because I want to get these done and it wouldn't be as much stress, especially on my arm. So it'll still be a bit of a challenge though to get that much done. And then the tea house, it'll be just something that brings me joy. So looking forward to all of those, looking forward to the spring. And if any of you guys are doing a personal curriculum, I would love to know what you guys have planned for the spring or for April, May, or June. And hopefully we can all cheer each other on and just be a support system for each other. So just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Your support means a lot to me, and I love connecting with our amazing community. If you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe to stay updated with my latest videos. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.